Hey guys, welcome to the Mako Performance Podcast, where we talk about how to train smarter, work harder, and perform better. In this episode, Aaron and I are going to recap our trip to the Arnold Classic, which is in Columbus, Ohio. This is probably the 6th or 7th year we went, right? Aaron mainly went to help coach with Attitude Nation Barbell Club, whereas I was helping out with GoRuck and just putting on challenges and things like that. So first off, Aaron, let's talk about your weekend and just how it went.
Yeah, so anytime I get a chance to go to a big national meet like this, it's always a really good time, whether I'm competing or solely coaching like this weekend. Just because I get to see my extended weightlifting family, so all the people that I'm normally chirping with online, seeing training videos from, getting to see those people in person, share ideas, talk to other coaches, and obviously see some just amazing athletes performing. So that was kind of the highlight of the weekend for me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool seeing some of the lifters at the Arnold, especially when you got to do some plate loading for. Is that considered an A session, or what is that actually considered?
Yeah, it was. I think considered an A session, but kind of separate from the A session at the same time. So these are definitely A session athletes. And when I say A session, like these are the top dogs. They're all national level lifters. Basically what they do for the Arnold is they pull them off of, the traditional stage and put them into the main expo to basically just highlight what's happening in weightlifting. But for the athletes themselves, this is their last opportunity to qualify for Team USA for the Pan American Games. So, getting to be right up on stage and seeing, lifters like CJ Cummings and Travis Cooper, and then some of the new up and coming lifters for Team USA lift, like literally like within feet of them. It's always a cool experience.
Yeah, a lot of those athletes, some of them look like they're really strong, but it's really cool to see somebody and you're like, that person, if you saw them, you'd be like, oh, I can outlift them, and then bang, clean and jerk, 400 pounds.
Yeah. For those of you guys that have never seen like top level weightlifters, just like think of all the crazy weights you see us lifting in the gym. These guys are snatching like our best clean and jerks. Watching somebody like Travis Cooper in person, the dude's been in the game for, he's got to be going on 2 decades. He just made a post today, like over the last 10 years, he's put over, 4 performances in 4 different weight classes with a 400 plus Sinclair score. The dude's just an operator, straight killer.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. So you've been working with Attitude Nation as an athlete for what, 2 years? A year?
Yeah, it's been about 2.5 years now.
Cool. If you guys are not familiar with Attitude Nation, John North, who it's pretty cool to see Aaron working with John North, because John was one of the original people that really had a big YouTube following with Donnie Schenkel and all the Cal Strength guys. So when I was getting into CrossFit, 2000, even like 2000 and like 10ish, like to like 12 and 13, those were some pretty awesome years to like go and watch those videos. Actually, Donnie sent him an email with a video of mine, and he sent me just this paragraph of like what to do, how to work on it, and was just a pretty cool thing. And to get that kind of feedback from somebody at that level who's like really wanted, everybody's like would love to do that, and all I had to do was just reach out. John was probably the first person that I ever watched in weightlifting who, like, Attitude Nation couldn't be a better name, right? More fitting name. The bar slams and the just absolute just getting after it. It helped translate a lot into like how I trained CrossFit. So like I did the same thing when I was lifting, like pushing it, like hammering it, like big celebrations. We'd have a lot of fun. And we really built a culture around a lot of that stuff that we learned. And so it's pretty cool to see like now you're not only coaching, or you're not only being coached by John, but now officially the assistant.
Yeah,
coach, right?
As of this weekend, I think been named the official, unofficial assistant coach for Attitude Nation. So anytime that we have a team that's going to a national meet, like I'm going to be right alongside him. Just like Brandon, watching those videos way back in like 2010, 2011. and just being amazed at the type of athlete he was. Never really thinking I'd get a chance to be this close to him, but he's honestly like one of my best friends now. Getting to work alongside him as an athlete, but now like being looked at as a peer from a coaching standpoint, it's a pretty awesome experience.
Yeah, I've watched John in the back. So like in the back room, guys, like everybody sees everybody come out on stage, but it's this delicate dance back there of timing an athlete up. Like you got to think, like you have to count how many attempts an athlete has before they're going to go out there. There could be some games being played. You need to watch the athlete. You need to make sure the athlete's fired up to go out there. And I really seen John, and I took this from him, even as as just a coach. Like, so even if I'm coaching like CrossFit athletes, I saw like his level of like giving and caring in those moments like really resonated with me. So I just sit back there and I watch John, I watch Aaron, and just kind of learn a lot as a coach is like how you just give somebody 100% of your focus, for that, 2 hours essentially in those sessions. It's been really cool to see. And then like just the small conversations as someone goes out, like some people you're going to be like, let's go, and then other people, it's kind of just reminding them like all the work they did. And you just see like the different type of conversations based on the athlete, and that like, sports psychology side of it is really cool. And I think John does that the best.
Yeah, I mean, we in the weightlifting world, we call that handling an athlete in the back. Every athlete's different. Every athlete's going to have different motivators, different mental barriers that they're going to be facing, anxiety, pressure on the performance they're about to put together. And he really does, on an individual level, kind of tailor what he's doing. I mean, literally last year, third attempt, about to qualify for AO finals. It's like, hey, you're doing it for Brittany. You're doing it for your family. And like, there's no way I'm going out there and missing that.
Yeah. Knew exactly what to say to you to like get you to be like, yes, I can do this. Yeah. Pretty awesome. So what were some of the highlights in the back, this year?
Yeah, so really so over the course of the weekend, guys, I think we had 17 athletes from Attitude Nation. So I mean, we're talking coaching from sun up to sundown, 3 of the 4 days that we were there. Highlight of the weekend for me, one of my closest friends on the team, Corey Ebert, really exceptional lifter, up in Illinois, qualified for his first American Open finals. John had 3 athletes on another platform, and the fact that he looked at me and said, hey, I want you to go run Corey's cards, and like the goal for him is to get to AO finals today, and to be able to help him get there. Obviously he had to go out and put the performance together, but like I teed him up, and triple PR day, PR snatch, PR clean and jerk, and a PR total, qualifying for his first American Open finals. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's a good feeling. I've been able to do some coaching. I'm not a USAW coach by any means, but been able to be in the back, obviously, as your coach, as Nate's coach before, and several counting. It is probably the most like enjoyable competition coaching that I think I've ever done, personally. Because there is a lot of like I said, that timing game, that psychology game. And also it's not like, well, if you have one lifter or even 2 at the same time, it's not a super, super long day. I mean, the Arnold's a little bit different because, we mentioned the A session. I think it goes A session all the way to what, like G or something, like I?
Yeah, I mean, this year I think it ran all the way down to like I sessions. Yeah. So, I mean, you have a very broad spectrum of performance going on. You have people who are kind of just tapping into national level meets, and then like your top level people as well.
Yeah, and that's what that like I session would be, your athletes that aren't even close to getting it. And actually Aaron, when I coached him at the Arnold to help count in the back, you were in a E session?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, E session, and the next year he was a D session, and then this year he didn't lift, but would have been an A session. So, those of you guys that's in that, and that was like a 5-year progression, 4 or 5 year progression.
4 or 5 years.
And to see that, guys, like that kind of should put some perspective into where you are, whether you're trying to compete at weightlifting or you're just trying to get stronger. It just takes time and consistency. I mean, Aaron's one of the most consistent athletes out there, and a consistent coach too. He's always there and consistent there as well. But that consistency is always going to trump like enthusiasm, right? Like getting fired up for small periods of time, like just, lifting when you're not really feeling it, just backing it down. But that consistency really shows, and those athletes that are there at the highest level have been the most consistent over time.
Yeah, it's very rare in weightlifting that you see somebody just pop onto the scene. Obviously there's new faces that come out of the woodwork, but most of those people have been training for years behind the scenes before you know who they are. So, if you can just maintain some consistency, and I always say like motivation is gonna fall apart at some point, and that's when you fall back on your consistency and just knowing that like you're in the process and committed to it, and doing that thing day to day, the little things that all adds up. Every session does add up, and I'm just gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep attacking it. I'm not done yet.
Yeah, I've seen Aaron even as a coach, and I've told him this, but I do believe that he's one of the best weightlifting coaches that just hasn't arrived yet, right? Like we were joking, because it's like you're not a high level coach till you produce a national lifter or something like that, and it's just kind of funny because it's just like when those athletes show up, like it's a timing thing too. Like to take a really good athlete, get him to the national level, I don't think that's that hard. It's about the athletic ability. But then, like you said, to take that good athlete and make him a champion, that's where the coaching is going to come into play.
Yeah, and for me, guys, like we have had a chance to put a couple people on a national stage, and I do want to continue to push people to that level, and just know that like I'm honing my craft with the opportunities that I have, to make sure that when you guys get that opportunity, that I'm going to be able to really set you guys up to have a really good day. So we're already set up to take a small group out, and we have a couple people kind of like right on the fringe of going to nationals this year, myself included. So I'm really hoping we can put together a good team to go out to Colorado Springs in June.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be able to be there too. It'll be a little close to my third child being born, but we'll see. We'll see where everything's at. Maybe I'll be able to come out there too. Okay. So what's next though? So what is the next meet?
Yeah, so for Attitude Nation and myself, as an athlete and coach, I'll be heading up to Philadelphia in a week and a half to compete at Masters Nationals. So I did not compete at the Arnold this year because I have officially aged into the Masters division. And I'll be taking a swing at my first national title this weekend, as long as Travis Cooper doesn't show up.
Right. Yeah, and you had a little conversation with him, right?
I did. I had a conversation with him because he obviously had a great day on the Rogue stage, and I got to be a part of that and load for him in that session. And afterwards, I was just kind of chatting up with him and asked him what his plans were for Masters Nationals, and I gave him a little nudge and said if he wanted to be a buddy to me, he could go ahead and stay down in the 73s.
Yeah. Come on, man. do it for my boy Aaron. Yeah. Well, that's fantastic, man. I mean, even if he does show up and be able to even be in competition with him would be pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, it'd be an honor to just share a competition platform with him.
Yeah.
And obviously you had a lot going on the weekend too. Maybe just kind of explain. I know we talked about GoRuck a little bit on one of the previous episodes, just like their gear and what they offer from that standpoint, but maybe just talk a little bit more about like GoRuck as a company and kind of like what our goal is with, you going up there and kind of partnering with them and helping them at the event. Yeah.
So GoRuck is a company, it's like, I was like trying to define it because I think like they're in the space where, GoRuck was all over the Arnold. You'd see GoRuck logos on every screen, and they're really a growing company that started out with like these challenges and challenging just regular people that are fit, that are trying to do something difficult with these 8-hour, 12-hour, 24-hour challenges, and kind of bringing that military style training and like evolutions to the masses. Now, I think since then they've sort of even progressed even further, where they are making training gear, right? They have sandbags, they have these sand kettlebells, they have jerry cans. We got to play around with these Husafel stones, which is what everyone wanted to play with, and got to save somebody's life on that, which I'll get into in a little bit. But Yeah, my whole goal there is Maddie Jones, who was a like 3-year member with us. High level CrossFit athlete. She made semifinals, I think, last year. When she was here, trained with her a lot. She was like my main training partner. We got to place 9th in the team series worldwide, like competing with like Alex Smith and like, we're up there with all these big names. In 2017, it was like, all right, we still got it. So basically, I just reached out to her and, I told her, well, I said, hey, you're going to Arnold. She's like, you guys are from Ohio, are you going? And I was like, yeah, I'll come out and help. But basically, it was just out there supporting them in the way like of putting on challenges, helping them meet people. I didn't know all their products because they handed me some stuff and I put them on. After that I kind of did, but they sell shoes now, and I do believe their ballistic trainers are really good CrossFit shoes. They've got a very hard, dense sole, but they're an 8mm drop, so that means there's 8mm is higher in the back than it is to the toe, and it doesn't feel super cushiony, but it was really good because I've worn it this week doing some of the class workouts and really love it. So I think that they're going to get into that market a little bit more. And then me personally, we've always put on events and things like that. And I do see a type of event that kind of looks at, like the strongman type implementation and like sandbags and carries and even rucking, which is their main thing. I mean, they're GoRuck, so they're rucking. And like having some challenges and events that we could potentially put on here to kind of challenge people in a different way other than just like thrusters and burpees and pull-ups and muscle-ups and things like that. I think you could have an event on the beach where, you still do some rope climbs, you do some D-ball work, you do maybe some bike and sprint work, and then you do a long, nasty ruck event. So I think that stuff is hopefully in the future of us. They have a couple things coming up at the end of April I haven't been able to kind of figure out yet over in Jacksonville, but I'm hoping to be able to go out there. If not there, then just whatever their next events are later in the year. So the guy that so one of the challenges, they had these Husafel stones, or these sandbags, and it went from, there was 95, 165, 215, and then a 250 pound sandbag. And I had been watching people lift this thing all day, and like, you never really know. Yes, trying, but some people were. And like, there was this one kid, man, he was like, he had to be like, I'm gonna call it like $165, or no, probably like $170, $175, and just country strong. I mean, he's Ohio boy, country strong, throwing that 250 up like it was nothing, putting it on his shoulder. And that was probably the most incredible thing I saw. But some other people, some big guys, were kind of struggling, and they'd be like, you'd have to be like, hey, let's move on from this. I'm like, all right, that's enough. Let's try this other one before you do it. But this one guy got it to his knees, and he'd like tried to figure out a way to carry it different. And he basically grabbed the bottom of it once it was at his knees and pulled it up towards his chest. Well, when he did that, the momentum of the bag hit him, and he fell straight back. And this thing was teetering and about to fall on his face, and I got to be there to just basically move it off of him. So I felt important that day. I was like, all right, good. Good.
Yeah, just from a coaching standpoint, right? Like, always be aware. Yeah, situational awareness. Had you not been there, that could have turned into an ugly day for that guy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's a minimum of a concussion, minimum. But yeah. But I had a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of their team, whether it was one of their cadres, to their head of training, and so I think that they have a really good team, and I'd love to just be a part of it any way I can. I think that we talked about in other episodes about if you can't run, walk. If you can walk, maybe start adding like weighted walks. And they have amazing weight vests. Like, they're super high speed, they're a little bit shorter so they don't like get on your belly, and they're like made of a smooth material so there's less chance of chafing. And we have Murph coming up, so I'm already trying to like figure out how we can potentially get those. But also their rucksacks are built to last, and they have a lifetime warranty on any of their gear. So if something breaks, you either send it to them or send it back. So I just think that American made, local, in the sense that it's right over there in Jacksonville, is just the way to support it and try to be a part of it. I think they're going to be a huge part of not only like the CrossFit space, but fitness space in general.
Yeah. Outside of kind of just like our, kind of main roles, I think the other really cool part about the Arnold is like guys, like when you walk into the expo, it is like a fitness person's dream. Every strength sport, every obscure sport that you could possibly think of is in there. I'll be honest, I didn't really have a chance to kind of explore and do much because of the coaching duties I had, but I know you got to kind of go around and see some of the other events, like maybe just talk about some of the other stuff that you got to see.
Yeah, I kind of describe it as like Meathead's Disney, like you're just going around, and it has changed over the years. Like back in the day, you'd get a bag and you would roll around and you would leave there with just like bags of supplements. And like some people were giving that stuff away, but when I had no money, back in like 2008, like right when I was getting to CrossFit, Graham Spagnola, one of the guys that I coached with a long time, which I ran into his brother there, which is funny. But he like used to be able to just go in there and just get like a year's worth of supplements in like individual packets. It'd last you a while. I didn't walk around as much as like, I felt like I needed to be there and be a part of like what GoRuck needed, but I did get to see some strongman stuff, which is always really cool because like those like people are like another, like it seems like a whole other race of humans. It's like here we are, ordinary people, and then you see the strong men and now even the strong women that were there, just absolutely incredible. I mean, these ladies were, I believe the log was 275 pounds to 300, somewhere around there, and they're just doing it for reps.
Right. Think back to like the CrossFit Games guys, they threw the log in, and like think about the numbers that some of those ladies who we all look up to and kind of idolize at times, like these girls were making it look like baby weight. Yeah,
I think the guys' weight at the games, like the highest was 300, and these ladies were doing that for reps.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So that was really cool. You got to see that big wheel of pain, which, I mean, I might be throwing this number might be off, but I think it's like 10,000 or it's 10 tons or something like that. Like it's something insane. And there's like sand in there, and it like as you turn it, it wants to turn back on you. And to see these dudes just grinding it out was pretty cool. One of the other really cool events that I've never seen before, and I'm not even sure like how do you even get into this? Like, think of like people like LARPing, right? Or like like LARPing, and LARPing is like live action role play, and you're fighting with swords and fake swords and stuff. Well, they had this medieval exhibition, and like if you weren't looking, you would just hear crack, and you're like, oh crap, this dude just hit this guy with an axe, like a legit metal head axe. They had all like full Kevlar and like like armor on, but dude, they'd hit him, and then the buddy would grab him, and all of a sudden they're just throwing knees at this dude's face.
in a full suit of armor, guys.
Yeah, full suit of armor. That was probably the coolest. I wish I would have sat and watched that a little bit more. It was kind of like wrapping up when I walked by, but that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I was like, I could watch this.
Yeah, medieval, baby.
Yeah, pretty cool. Overall, though, the Arnold's great. I ran into somebody who, which was really weird, because I ran into a guy that I played like middle school baseball with, Grant Westfall. He was like, he'd been running a lot, so he was a lot skinnier. He was tall as hell, and he was like, Brandon Massey, and I was like, how do I know this guy? It's like, it's Grant, and I was like, oh crap. So it's always cool to see, like, because especially just being from Ohio, like you just run into random people that you haven't seen in a decade or 2 decades at this point. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, the Arnold's really fun. If you guys have never went, it is a really good time. There's plenty of food and stuff to eat around Columbus. So that was good.
Yeah, and just for like, our weightlifting club's perspective, I really would like to look at that as like a target event for us next year. We've always kind of gone up there solo. Obviously, I went up and helped John with Attitude Nation this year. But I'd love to take our team up there. We've got a number of people that are already in that qualifying total range, and a couple more on their way there. It's that first taste of a national stage, and for me, the first time that I got to compete at the Arnold was the first time that I was like, all right, I'm in this. Like we're in the weightlifting game, and we're gonna commit to this. So I think it would be a really fun event for us to go to.
Yeah, it's a great event, especially like to see a well-run meet, very clean. Everything in the back's all Rogue. Everything. It's just nice. I agree. I think that if you're considering, and you, that's the thing, like everyone could pretty much compete at one of those sessions for the most part. And if you can, that's what you should do. And we'll probably look at that, and I'll probably end up prioritizing helping with that next year if we end up doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
I think that's kind of everything from just like an experience standpoint that I've got. It's one of those weekends that you always remember, guys. Though there's so many memories that I have from my years there, and I'm gonna continue to go every year that I can.
Yeah, same. Columbus has changed, which we won't get into now. But if you guys want to ask our opinions later off podcast,
yeah, offline,
it is what it is. But yeah, it's still a good time, and just being around. It's funny when you walk around too, and you can just be like, weightlifter, CrossFitter, strongman, MMA fighter. Like you can kind of see just all of these people that are all into different fitnesses. So I think that's really cool. I think that's all we have for today on that, guys. Again, if you guys have any questions or suggestions to the podcast, you guys can reach out to us directly. Instagram's a really good way to do that. Brandon_Massey is mine.
Or ADenny19 for me.
Awesome, guys. We'll see you in the next one.